our millions and billions of listeners of Radio 4 across the world. Welcome to 4 Stands Up. My name's Rod Gilbert, I'm from Wales. I take it most of you who cheered are not from Wales. Absolutely right, so there we go. I've learnt the hard way. I used to come out on stage and say I'm from Wales, and somebody would always cheer, and in my naivety in the early days I would assume that person was Welsh. But I've since realised that English people cheer when I say I'm Welsh, because you're not Welsh. That's what happens. Thank God for that. Do we have any Welsh people in? Oh, little wave at the back there. Hello, my lovely. What's your name?
I'm Helen.
You're Helen. Where are you from, Helen?
Llantrisant.
You're from Llantrisant? Oh, do the rest of you know Llantrisant? It's about 12 miles from Pontypridd. Do you know that? And did you grow up in Wales, Helen?
I did, yeah.
It's tough, isn't it? You grew up in... How old were you when you realised you could take a cagoule off? Have you ever learnt Welsh, Helen?
Yes.
Have you?
In school.
How much... Can you give us a bit of Welsh now? You can say a sentence. Oh, fair play. Those 18 years in school weren't wasted. Rydw i'n hoffi coffi, ond dydw i ddim yn hoffi te. Yes, I know what it means, yes. To be honest with you, I think most of the people in the room worked out that coffee was coffee and tea was tea. It's not difficult to add an A on the end of a sentence, is it? You've done quite well, though. I've been learning it for 2 years. I've broken my arm twice. It's a difficult language. It's true, I've been on a course for 2 years. 30 people started that course, only 1 bloke passed. 3 failed, 26 dead. It's true, 26 people died trying to learn. There's 1 bloke choked and swallowed his tongue, the poor sod. There's another guy had a nervous breakdown and killed himself in front of everyone. He wasn't even supposed to be doing Welsh. This is week 6. We found out later he was supposed to be doing assertiveness in the room next door. So we didn't know who he was. We didn't hear a peep out of him for 6 weeks. Bless him. He wrote a suicide note in Welsh, bless him. He said it was on the wrong course, and the course was too hard, and the teacher was a fascist, and... Ironically, he got a B for that. He did quite well. See, this is the problem. See, you've identified problems there with Welsh, because in that sentence, coffee and things like that, words don't stay the same in Welsh, do they? Do you know that? Did you get that far in your Welsh learnings? Because words mutate, don't they? Mutations, they're called in... Go on, give us soft mutations. Yes, there are hard ones as well, but the soft ones are hard enough, so I didn't bother with those. Can you give us an example of a soft mutation, Helen?
Rugby. Well, no, it's like...
No, that's an example of casual mild racism, my friend. Rugby. Words change in Welsh, don't they, Helen? Back me up. They mutate, soft mutations.
Pontyclean, which you mentioned before.
Pontyclean becomes...
If you say in Pontyclean, it's Pontyclean.
It is. Yeah, Pontyclean. Sometimes pont means bridge, doesn't it? And sometimes pont changes to bont. The P becomes a B. And as you identify there, sometimes the P becomes Montyclean. So the P changes to what? M, G, H. 1 letter changes into 3... See, this doesn't happen in English. Once you've got the hang of cat, it doesn't matter whether it's on your lap, up a tree or by the fire, you're pretty much settled for life, aren't you? Cat is cat, you know where you are, it's fine. See, they tried to teach us these mutations on our course, right? It was carnage, honestly. 3 days in, there was a stalemate in the classroom. The teachers were on one side behind the piano, and we were dug in behind the audio-visual equipment. Honestly, 3 days we held them off, we held our ground. Day 4, we all came out and had a game of table football in no man's land. And day 5, they rushed us. They came over the top of the piano, shouting and screaming and brandishing their grammar books, and there was bodies everywhere. You couldn't see for chalk dust, you know. There was bits of dictionary floating. I lost my best mate that day. Honestly, an English guy called Tom who'd been learning Welsh, bless him, and I cradled him in my arms as he died. Do you know what his last words to me, Helen? Well, his last words to me, he said, can you give a message to my wife, Rod? I said, of course I will. He said, can you tell Maura I love her? I said, surely you mean tell Fora I love her? And he said, doesn't L go to M? And I said, not if it's a present tense. And he said, transitive verb. And subject of the last sentence. And he said, oh, luck this for a fark, and died right there in the question. Oh, dear. Ladies, welcome him to the stage all the way. It's a lovely, lovely chap, a very funny man, Mr. Russell Kane.
All right, Greenwich, how you doing? You all right? It's like a sociological apartheid. People listening to this won't understand our skin. There's no in-between people left in Greenwich tonight. There's no in-between people. There's just a load of middle-class people running to up the creek going, I hope there'll be jokes about badgers and jam and hummus. Quickly, Ollie. Follow me. Maybe there'll be something about Iran that's postmodern. And then there's no one. There's just people outside going, can I stab you in the face? And there's nothing in between. That's good. I've come in from Southend-on-Sea. Any Essex folk in? Really loads. Just one girl at the back. I'll have a Bacardi Breezer when you finish with me, Dave. No, people make fun of Southend. They shouldn't. It's got a certain cultural vibrancy. It's a bit like Greenwich. We don't take anything too pretentious gets cut down. I love watching these little cafes trying to open in towns that won't tolerate it. They tried to open this posh French cafe in Southend called Le Café, and they put a chalkboard out the front. Like, not thinking people would go to fetch chalk to deface it. Do you know what I mean? This is the Southend spirit. They said, why don't you join us for the opening of Le Café? We'll have coffee, croissants, and French toast. And someone who is my hero had crossed out French toast and written eggy bread. Radio 4 is a very British thing, and comedy here is completely different. I've been trying to do gigs abroad, and they went wrong because of how positive the audience were. You guys are lovely, but you rest in between each joke going, reprove yourself, you Lego-head pretender, right? We keep resetting it, and I went on in America, and it put me on. How depressed are we as a country to be put off by niceness? They're like, you can't fail, we love you. I'm like, what are you being nice for, mate? Hey? What are you smiling for? I've not proved myself. Like, this is the only country where, like, they were saying to me, they're backstage, do you want anything said before you go on? I was like, no, don't tell them I've achieved or done anything. And I caught what I was saying. I was like, aren't we warped as a nation? That I was worried about you lot hearing anything that I've achieved, because you would hate me. That's what, you like this next act, you might recognise him from television, he's done lots of radio, he's won 4 Perrier Awards. I won't laugh at the prick. Yeah? This is the only country where if everyone in this room and if everyone at home listening suddenly heard one of the lights fall off and crack my head open, it would make the night for everyone. Maybe a nightmare for the BBC and you lot would be evacuated, but ultimately people would be going, I know it's wrong because he's permanently crippled, but that's the funniest thing I've ever watched. He'll never speak again. I know it's wrong. And that's what we're like as a nation, especially, like, the more you get towards the end of the sociological continuum, my father, yeah, if you use your imagination, Radio 4, white, working class, shaven-headed, 16 stone of bulging arm, sheet metal working, why does he read, why is he effeminate, is he one of those? That sort of man. Proper job hands, yeah, that sort of man. They can't be positive, can they? Especially with their sons. They really struggle with it. Like, but you know that they love you, but my dad still can't tell me he's proud of anything I did. It's pathetic. That I want to hear it, right? I'm doing it on radio, shame. And, you know, my dad's only review of my whole comedy career. Admittedly, I'm quite new. I only left the day job in 2006. My dad was like, I did it myself, did it in the 60s. I was a redcoat in Butlins and walked off. That's all he said. And I got offended. And my mum's like, why are you still getting offended at your age? She's very proud of you, but in private. What kind of an emotional retard goes into a private chamber to express their pride? Who, for God's sake, Dad? Not only have I got a degree, the only person in the family, but I've got a first class in English. I'll be in the shed. Yeah, I'll be in the shed. Yeah? He's down there all messed up going, I want to learn about Agamemnon and I want to love my son, but I can't. What are you doing in there, Dad? Nothing, I'm practising my fighting. Leave me alone. Yeah? You read Penguin Classics, you're probably a gay. We love negativity, though, don't we? We do. Even the way we mate. You two a couple, are you? How long have you been in a relationship? About a year. So do you know what's strange about British couples is once you get to that year, you're happier now, I bet you, than you were in the first 3 months. Do you know, she went, not really. I've been Facebooking the ass out of studs all week, to be honest. No, but mostly British people, well, like, the first 3 months are quite stressful for us. My American friends find this shocking. Because, you know, when we're falling in love, we prefer to be flawed and negative when we're in our Jim Jams of egg sandwiches and spilt down. We prefer to be negative. Those first 3 months are stressful for us. British people are like two lying bits of Tetris that are never going to fit together. Ever. Especially men. How difficult is that, pretending you don't have a horrible temper for the first 6 months? You've lied. And she's believed it. He doesn't have a temper in a traffic jam. He doesn't kick the sat-nav off the window and ruin the day. Not him, no. He just laughs about it, Carol. I'm in love. Like, he doesn't smash up the room because he's lost his keys and ruin the day for everyone. Not him, no. He lasts about 6 months. Where's my keys? We're rubbish. We're not like Americans. I like it in the beginning when it's perfect and everything's perfect. We're not. We do get into relationships. We don't really date over here, do we? How many people know people that are going on a couple of dates with a couple of different guys to test them? We don't do that. We get together 3 years, break up. Get together 3 years, break up. Get together 3 years, break up. Marriage. Right? We find it impossible. And metaphysically you're thinking, how does it relate to your central tenet of flaws? Good point. Right? It's because we can't present ourselves as perfect. There's no guy in the room that can go up to another girl sober and go, do you want to go out with me? Because we look arrogant and British women find it repellent. We want to present ourselves as flawed and we can't. So the only solution is alcohol. Wake up with someone you don't know, stay together for 3 years, break up. That's all you can do. I don't know anything about these guys, but I can guarantee they either never knew each other before the night they met, got drunk, then got it on, or knew each other for a while, did nothing about it till they were drunk, then got it on. Which is it? A or B? It's B. Thank you. That's how we mate. That's the only way. There'll be no couple in this room that got together sober unless they're a Christian or a weirdo. We don't know it. There was these two guys, George and Hannah, right? They've met 2 days before. You know when your friends have got a spark and you can't wait for them to get it on, but we wait until we're drunk, the proper time, right? You know what American men are like? And this guy, he'd known Hannah for a couple of days. It's lunchtime. Imagine this, guys. Right? He's like, you know what? I really like Hannah. I'm going to ask her out right now in this cafe. I'm like, what are you doing, you dick? Could you imagine doing that? And this is what he did. He went, hey, Hannah, do you want to go out and get a pizza or something on Wednesday? She went, hey, that'll be swell. And she didn't say swell. Let's bring Biff and Scooter and have milkshakes. She said that'll be great. And they went out, they had a little date, they had a kiss and a cuddle, no alcohol involved. Could you imagine that in our culture? What would happen to one of you guys if you even attempted that? Excuse me, Caroline, do you want to go out? Do you want to get a drink or a pizza on Wednesday? That's a little bit rapey. Back off, I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all from me. I've been Russell Kane. Thank you very much. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Russell Kane! Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Did you enjoy that? Yes! Good. Now, what am I going to talk to you about? I know I was going to talk about kids. Have you got kids? That's the zeitgeist, isn't it? People aren't having kids. Do you think it's because we fear them? I don't understand. I'm 40. Do you understand kids? I don't get them. I don't get this new generation. I don't understand them. I feel like I'm very far away from them. Because things were simple in our days, weren't they? And did you have computer games and stuff when you were a kid, or were you more the board game generation?
Ping-pong game.
Ping-pong game? I remember that. Table tennis, we used to call it in Wales. Do you know, that was a good age, wasn't it, when you had games that were in, where you actually taught... What was your favourite games when you were growing up?
Ping-pong games.
The ping-pong games, popular. Oh, Mousetrap, where you turned the little crank and it wound the gears. What? Hang on a second, I'm dealing with Mousetrap. Burning Teddy? It's a little darker than Mousetrap, that one. Oh, Mousetrap, I know the one, the board game with you turned the little crank and it wound the gears and pushed the rod with the stop sign against the boot to kick the bucket with the metal ball, rolled down the rickety staircase, round the drain pipe, hit the lever with the hand on the top, then rolled the bowling ball into the bathtub, fell through the end onto the diving board, flicked the diver into the tub, released the cage on top of the little mouse. We didn't have that. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your next act? Yeah! Please welcome country legend to the stage that he is. It is Mr. Wilson Dixon!
How you doing, folks? Nice to be here. My name's Wilson Dixon. I'm a country singer. It's a real pleasure to be over here in the United Kingdoms. I'm from America. The stereotype of the American country singer is of a racist, redneck, gay-hating redneck that repeats himself. Truth is, I'm not all of those things. I don't have anything against gay people. In fact, some of my best friends don't have anything against gay people. But being, John living here in London, trying to break into the English country scene. I've been traveling around a bit, looking at things. Went down to Brixton the other day. Pretty cool. I got off the train there, was walking along the main street. A guy came up to me, tried to sell me a skunk. I said, "How old is it?" He was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, I want to know what I'm buying. Is it a male or a female?" And I said, I got 2 raccoons at home. I don't need a skunk. They're a breeding pair, He looked at me like I was crazy. He said, "Hey, man, I'm not the one selling wildlife on the street." Yeah. But the reality of being someone like myself, country singer, traveling around, puts a bit of strain on, personal relationships sometimes. A couple of years back, things with my wife, Maureen, hit kind of rock bottom, and, we ended up getting a divorce. But thing is, when I met Maureen, met her about 10 years ago, met her at a rodeo. She was a pretty little lady. Well, not a little lady. She was a normal-sized lady. It was a rodeo, it wasn't a carnival. Anyway, I've been away on tour. I came back home to Cripple Creek, where I live in Colorado, and went into the house, and it was pretty late, but Maureen was up. She was awake, and she was sitting in the kitchen. I walked in the kitchen. She said, "What time do you call this?" I said, 3:15. "What time do you call it?" She said, 45 minutes to 4. Can't argue with that. I tried to. I said, maybe it's 75 minutes past 2. We went on like that for about 135 minutes. Saying the same time from different directions. Nothing changes, man, I can tell you that. And so I've got a little song here about Maureen. It's off my first album, Wilson Dixon's Greatest Hits. This song's called More Talking, Less Action. You and me don't talk no more, except to say, don't talk to me anymore. We used to be as thick as thieves, and now you're just a thief. I left $10 on the sideboard, now it's gone. I say potato, you say potato. I say, who says potato? I think you'll find that is not a word. I say tomato, you also say tomato. You should say tomato. You never played by the rules. We used to get on like a house on fire, till you set my house on fire. Why'd you do that? In a stroke of irony that even you might say, the only thing I saved was a photo of you. And now our song is sung, and with the setting sun, the twilight of our love has arrived. I grope round in the dark, I find a match. The flaming spark illuminates you in the corner with a knife. That's behavior unbecoming of a wife. I'm like a boat sailing icy seas, and you're an iceberg, only ever showing 10% of yourself to me. Thanks, folks. See you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your final act of the evening? Please give it up for one of the most marvellous comedians in the world right now. It's Mr. Stephen K. Amos.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. What a lovely, lovely welcome. Just a couple of things. I've got to say, last December, I did the Royal Variety Show in front of the Queen of England. You know, your Queen? Yeah? Let's not forget her. And I said to myself, in my eyes, all men are equal. I'm not going to bow for anybody. I swear to God, as soon as the Queen got in front of me, my knees went, I bowed like a bitch. Oh, thank you, Your Majesty. Thank you for what you have done for my people. Can we have our jewels back? Because I thought things would have turned out much better for me, right? Last December, Raw Variety. Fast forward to now. Yeah. Radio. Yeah. Things haven't turned out the way I planned. Now, I've got to say to you that I think there's a reason why, folks, and it's because I did a joke at the Raw Variety, which I'll do for you tonight, and it goes like this, that I absolutely love doing live stand-up comedy for you good people. However, my real goal is my own TV show. Because in reality, this isn't all that. Yeah, I'm in a studio-ish. There is even a light. The light is blinding me. One light is burning me. But as we're all aware, the BBC has a diversity policy. And apparently, I've got to wait for Lemmy Henry to die. One in, one out, let's not rock the boat. I did that joke at the Royal Variety, and I kid you not, Prince Philip, legend, he walks up to me and he goes, so, you're the young man who wants Lenny Henry to die. We can arrange that. No, you can't write that kind of comedy, folks. So my thing at the moment is to find the funny, right? Because the funny is everywhere around us. Everywhere you look, there is something funny. I went to the north of England, went to Leeds, and, oh my God, they talk very strange up there. They talk, hello, can I be your friend? What time's the meat raffle? I drove up to Leeds, because I've got a car. Yeah, touch me, I've got money. I don't even need to be here. I drove into Leeds, a great big sign on the motorway. It said, Leeds, city full of surprises. I was there for 8 hours. Nothing. Maybe that's the surprise, right? I get to the show, in the front row, 12 stunning blonde girls. They were quite clearly on some sort of hen do, because 11 of them were dressed as Indians. Feather in their hair. One of them was wearing a sari. Now, I'm not a member of Mensa, but I'm guessing she wasn't the sharpest tool in the box. Someone has just got that joke. That's hilarious. Oh, I love it when the penny drops. It's amazing, isn't it? Oh, bless. I can see straight through your head. There's nothing there. Well, I say there's nothing there. The wheel's turning, but the hamster's dead. At the same show, up north, I turned to my left on the stage. There were 4 guys in the front row, geezers, real big men. And I said, all right, sir, what do you do for a living? He said, I'm a teacher. I said, is it a mixed school? He said, no, they're all white. I know. My face must have gone, what? Because he went, but I saw the funny side, folks. And that's why I love doing this job, because you get to travel all around this great country of ours, nay, all around the world. And while I'm on the subject of going around the world, I've been to America recently, and the Americans don't quite get me. Because apparently in America, my face doesn't fit my voice. I went to a place in New York called Harlem. I had the walk down pat. I went into a bank. I went, excuse me. I'd like to exchange these traveller's checks. The girl behind the desk went, say what? I said, I'd like to exchange these traveller's checks. She goes, hold on. Alopecia, get over here. Anaconda, get over here. Now, say it again. I'd like to exchange these traveller's checks. Hooey! Are you from France? No, I'm not. Oh, my goodness. Talking about America, do we think we're going to see a black president in America? Wow, what a resounding yes. I asked that same question at a comedy show in the centre of London, and a little voice at the back of the room said, probably not. Well, that's a bit sinister. Do you know something we don't? Do you have a rifle with you? But I've got to say, I'm not quite sure America is quite yet ready for a black president, and I'll tell you why. You know that bit of America, that bit in the middle, sort of down south, yeah? I think it's called, what you doing here, boy? There's no work for you. It could be called that. I'm not quite sure. Now, those people are yet to vote. Can you imagine them at the polling stations, going up to the booth? Obama? Ain't that the guy we're looking for? And you know his full name is Barack Hussein Obama. If there is anything designed to bust the blood vessels of the heads of these people, Hussein, didn't we hang him? Good night, everybody. Thank you.
You have been listening to Four Stands Up with Russell Kane, Wilson Dixon, Stephen K. Amos. I'm Rod Gilbert, the producer was producer Gilani. Thank you very much. See you next week.